first step is going to be priming your eye with whatever primer of choice. Myself, I just use Studio Finish Concealer on NW40 on the brow bone to act as a highlight. And I used NW45 on my lid to conceal out all the unnatural colors of my face. And it's going to help brighten the color of the shadow. So for my first eyeshadow base, I'm going to start with Groundwork by MAC. I'm going to take just a little bit with the tip of my finger, just a little bit, and use this to kind of act as a base for the shadow colors I'm going to be using on my brow bone and on my crease. So you don't even really have to spread it to the lid. I'm just putting it kind of like in the crease area, just like that, and you really don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. For our lid colors, I'm going to be using Artifact Paintpot, which is kind of like this really pretty burgundy color. And I'm just going to take a little bit on my lid. And this color is so pretty, it's almost pretty enough to be worn by itself, which is really why I like this base color. So there you go, we have that base set. The first color I'm going to be using is going to be my brow bone color, and I'm going to be using Bisque by MAC, simply because it's not too bright, it's not too flamboyant. It's just a regular matte base, and it's really, really pretty for women of darker skin tones. And I'm going to be using that with my 239 brush. And just very lightly adding a little bit and then blending that out. Next, I'm going to use Sketch eyeshadow for my outer V color. Probably one of my favorite staple matte colors. Like, seriously, every woman of color should own Sketch. It is so pretty. It's like a deep burgundy, almost eggplant color. One of my favorites and very, very versatile. I'm going to take that in my 219 pencil brush and just place that color on the outer V. And now that we have that color placed, as you can see, it's not blended or anything like that. I just placed it. I'm going to take my 217 brush. You're free to use whatever blending brush that you prefer. I'm just going to use this one and basically blend out that crease color. And as you can see, I'm kind of using a circular motion, and notice the placement of my brush. I'm not very, very close to my brush. I'm kind of giving my brush some room. And just blend it out. All the way up into that mid-crease area. And don't worry about perfection, because we are going to take another eyeshadow from my crease, and this is called Texture. I'm going to use Texture and my 224 brush along the outer edges of where I applied that sketch, just to blend it out and keep it from looking over blended. And just to kind of evenly transition the brow bone color into the crease color, the Texture kind of acts as that perfect in-between color. I'm going to use Carbon by MAC and my 219 color, and once again on the outer corner, just place a little bit of that carbon. Lay a little bit right on top of the sketch, just a little bit, just a few dots. And then with my 217 brush, once again blend it out, just so that we get a darker, a little bit more defined crease. And we can also take some of that color along the bottom lash line. For my lid color, I'm going to be using Mythology by MAC. If you don't have Mythology, you can use French Cuff. They are basically the same exact color. So if you have either or, you're more than welcome to use them. I'm going to use that color and my 239 brush, or whatever flat shader brush that you have. Just get a little bit of that color on there and pat that on my lid. Going to go back to that texture eyeshadow and my 224 brush, and directly on top where I applied that Mythology, I'm going to matte it out with texture. So basically just go right over that Mythology with the texture, and it's going to kind of like mattify it because Mythology is a very, very glittery, it's a luster, so a lot of glitter, a lot of sparkle, very chunky. It's beautiful on its own, but I wanted a more, you know, this is Bridal, so I wanted a more softer effect with the color, so I'm just kind of matting it out. I'm going to use Arena eyeshadow by MAC or any sparkly highlight color that you have, and I'm going to apply a little bit of that to my tear duct with my pencil brush. Just a little tiny bit. I'm going to use a black liquid liner. For those of you that aren't comfortable with a, you know, like a true black liquid liner, you're also more than welcome to use a dark brown. Dip Down, which is a fluid line by MAC, is a dark brown gel liner. You're more than welcome to use that too. That's very, very bridal. And for those of you, like I said, some people aren't comfortable with using a straight up black liner, and the brown gives a more softer romantic effect, but it's whatever you prefer. I personally prefer black, so I'm going to use the Maybelline one that I have here. And I'm not going for too much drama because remember, this is bridal. So just enough to open up my eyes without looking like I'm going to the club or anything like that. Adding eyeliner on the waterline is another option. This one is off of preference. For more fair complected women, I like to do kind of like a white liner on the lower lash line, just because it opens up the eye and it has a more daytime friendly effect. A lot of people also prefer black. I think both work equally well. For this particular look, I'm going to be using black, so I'm going to use my trusty Feline, which is what I pretty much always use. Then I'm going to be adding mascara. I'm using Maybelinne Lash Stileto. For this look, I'm not going to do a full strip lash. I'm just going to do a half lash on the ends. Okay, please ignore the white stuff on my face. You guys know I do my milk of magnesia. But anyways, since the eye look is done, I'm going to show you how I would prep the rest of the face. So for my foundation, I am using Face Atelier. I have no idea how to say that correctly, so please excuse me. Face Atelier. This is from their Pro line. I picked this foundation up from the eye mats. This is my third bottle, okay? I had one for myself, I used it, then I picked up two more, one for my kit and then another one for myself. I love this stuff and I'm considering doing a review on it, so keep a lookout for that. I'm going to take this foundation in my 187 brush, and I like to just kind of dot it all over my face. And I only use about a pump and a half, maybe two. But first I place the foundation all over and then I blend it out. I really, really like the coverage. I love the way it photographs. I use this for photo shoots. I use it every day. For those of you guys that don't care for silicone based products, it is a silicone foundation. So basically it just fills out your pores a little bit more even. That's one of the pros of silicone products, silicone cosmetics. Make sure you get all into your hairline, along the jawline. And don't be afraid to even get some on your neck, especially if you're going to be wearing, if you're, if you're, what do they call this? The décolleté. If your décolleté is exposed, don't be afraid to get that on your neck. Underneath the eye. And there you go. For underneath the eye, I'm going to use Select Cover Up Concealer by MAC. The shade is, oh, I'm sorry. For those of you guys that want to know, the shade that I'm using for the foundation is shade number 12. And for my Select Cover Up, I'm using NW40, which is just lighter than my skin tone because I'm using it to brighten underneath my eye and to kind of work as like a highlighter. So as you can see, this is not my skin color. It's just lighter than. I'm going to set that concealer with some Prep and Prime translucent powder. Looks like this. And this is going to help keep it from creasing and just help it stay on your face. I'm going to take my Mineralized Skin Finish powder in Deep Dark and my large 150 brush and set my foundation with the powder just a little bit, just kind of lightly go over the face. And I like to go around where I applied that concealer so that it evenly transitions with the foundation. But you still want that highlighting effect. You just don't want it to stand out as obvious. So just very lightly go over the entire face with a layer of powder. And then I'm going to also go over it with some of that Prep and Prime powder. Just a tiny, tiny bit because you don't want it to show when you photograph. And I have oily skin, so this is going to help control some of the oil. It does work kind of like as a blotting powder, which is probably one of my favorite features of the Prep and Prime. Is, if you need to touch up throughout the day, if you can keep some of that stuff in your purse in a small, like 129 travel brush, I would do it because it will instantly mattify and blot the oil off your skin. So there you go. I'm going to contour my cheekbones with a Pro powder. This is called Shadowy. And it just basically looks like any other blush. And that is a Pro product. My blush, I'm going to use Format by MAC, which has slowly but surely become one of my favorite blushes, like just period. It's so pretty in the daytime. It's so pretty with in the nighttime too. It's just like the perfect like golden sun-kissed wash of color. And I'm just gonna blend a little bit out just on the apples of my cheekbones and take a little bit along my cheekbones. And it just gives you like this really pretty like golden glow. Like honestly, when you do your eyeshadow and you don't know what blush to pair it with, like honestly I feel like this is that blush. That's like that perfect everything blush. It's so pretty. For my cheekbone highlight, I'm going to be using the Comfort Mineralized Skin Finish from the Warm and Cozy collection. And I'm going to use my 227 brush just a little bit and just graze some over the high points of my cheekbones. You can also put a little bit of that on your brow bone. That's optional if you want. For my lips, I'm going to use Fresh Brew lipstick. And I'm going to top that off with Viva Glam. I think this is Viva Glam 6, but it kind of looks like a pink rosy color. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that on top. And there is our bridal look. For those of you guys that requested this, I am so sorry for the wait. I hope that this is able to help someone out there. And for those of you guys that are, you know, getting ready for that big day, congratulations to you and good luck. And I hope that you find this tutorial helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. And thank you for watching. Bye.